11C, certificate for 120 East 3rd Street.
A certificate of appropriateness to install a sign at 120 East 3rd Street. Now therefore be it resolved by the Council of the City of Bethlehem that a certificate of appropriateness is granted for the work. Resolution 11C is sponsored by Eric Evans and Jean Belinsky.
Comments? Please call the roll.
Mrs. Belinsky.
Aye.
Mr. DeJacinto.
Aye.
Ms. Dolan.
Aye.
Mr. Evans.
Aye.
Mr. Mauer.
Aye.
Mr. Reynolds.
Aye.
Mr. Doncheck.
Aye.
7-0 passes.
11D, certificate for 502 East 4th Street.
A certificate of appropriateness for the proposal to partially demolish the garage at 502 East 4th Street. Now therefore be it resolved by the Council of the City of Bethlehem that a certificate of appropriateness is granted for the work. Resolution 11D is sponsored by Eric Evans and Jean Belinsky.
Comments? Ms. Dolan?
I have a question. I don't know who in the administration could answer, but was the demolition permit for the garage issued prior to the meeting of the Southside Historic Conservation Commission?
I'd like the ability to get confirmation. I drove by the building, there was a condemnation sign on the building. This has got serious structural issues. My understanding is that there was a condemnation, and at that point, typically that is accompanied by a raise or repair. So not necessarily a demolition permit was issued for it. Condemnation, but they're not one and the same. I'd like to, that's my understanding. I can confirm.
But not before we vote, you're just saying, but you're comfortable that you can?
The building was condemned. And accompanying with that, typically would go, you have the option of raising or repairing, or raising or repairing that building.
Okay.
So there was not a demolition permit issued to demolish the building. It was condemned. Those are different.
Is there someone who could give council just a little bit of a description of the building in terms of its structural integrity and its historical significance? I think one thing would be, was it listed as a historic resource in the city's proposed historic
Not even
preservation
close. If
plan?
there were 30 tiers, it wouldn't make tier 30 in my estimate. I'm not a historian. I drove by the building. It's a block building. It's not much to look at. It's in a lot of bad shape, and it's got a really bad foundation. It's got a major crack on one side of the
It's a
building.
cinder block building?
Not cinder block, but it's some sort of block. It's not your typical flat cinder block. It's some other sort of block building.
Does anyone know the date of its
I don't.
construction? Well, I would just say that in light of the fact that Ms. Negron is new to the executive directorship of this organization, I don't think she should be considered responsible. She, like as she said, she inherited the headache, and I also think we need to consider the fact that the proposal was supported publicly by our colleague, in a sense, BASD School District Director Orleo Ortiz. And Jeff Parks was here to attest to it. These are some people who, and Roger Hudak, I mean, these are some folks in our community who carry a lot of weight, and I tend to trust their opinions. I like the fact that there was a compromise made, and that there will be some historic resources saved. I know the fence, and that's cool. So good luck with the new project. I hope that we agree with the vote, which was 4-2. And if you wonder why, we're used to just getting them unanimously approved. So it's always a little touchy when there's some dissension, but I'll be supporting it.
Okay. Mr. Evans?
I was out at the site today, and it is definitely a safety hazard in looking at it. And I understand, Mrs. Pomgratz, Mary, I do understand your frustrations in seeing things go by the wayside. At the same time, I want to thank Mr. Negron coming in new. I appreciate your effort. Thank you for being here tonight. Thank you for taking, putting in the hard work and trying to improve and make that spot a better place. It certainly is not a good place right now. What I was able to see in my time walking around and taking a look at that. So I will support the Commission's recommendation tonight.
Thank you. Mr. Reynolds?
I just want to say quickly that I will be supporting as well. Councilman Dolan did mention that was a 4-2 vote, and I certainly have a lot of respect for Ms. Pongratz and Mr. Cornish, who had voted against the demolition. At the same time, I drove by the other day to take a look at it, and I think I can concur with what's been said so far. Is that this will certainly I think the work will certainly be an improvement, and I too have a great deal of respect for the speakers, and And I think that this is something that is not only, it's not something should we do or shouldn't we do, it's something that's needed, I think. And I think it's needed to improve the property and to kind of put them in put the building on its on the right foot. So I'll be supporting it. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Mauer?
Yeah, I've been with Olga on this issue before, and I've made a contact with our building inspector. We've talked about it. I know he's been out to see it. I assume that if there was anything we were doing which was incorrect, he would certainly let us know, and we did not hear from him, so I'm sure that he was in favor of doing what we had done, and I would be endorsing it tonight.
Thank you. Any other comments? Please call the roll.
Mrs. Polinsky.
Aye.
Mr. DiGiacinto.
Aye.
Ms. Dolan.
Aye.
Mr. Evans.
Aye.
Mr. Merrill.
Aye.
Mr. Reynolds.
Aye.
Mr. Donchev.
Aye.
7-0 passes.
Thank you. We'll move to new business. New business, members of council. New business of council. Mr. Bauer?
I sent a request to the commissioner of the police department sitting in the back row, and he moves around musical chairs, concerning whether or not we have made any arrests having to do with the cell phone. My message to you was I'm very serious about that, and there's no use passing any resolutions if we're not going to enforce them. And I understand it, no one has been arrested so far.
You wouldn't arrest anybody. It's a citation.
Because that sends a clear message to people in Bethlehem that they can ignore that request.
No, that's not correct. There were 3 arrests so far, one of them involving a motor vehicle accident.
There were 3 arrests so far. One of them involved
Motor vehicle
a
accident.
motor vehicle accident. And because these are people who were in automobile accidents who was discovered after the accident had been on their cell phone.
Yes. Well, only one of those. The other 2 citations were issued because the officers actually saw somebody driving down the street using a cell phone. Now, that's not to say how many people were actually pulled over and maybe given verbal or written warning.
Do you have any idea how many were?
How many were given a verbal warning, I couldn't tell you, but if there was a paper warning issued, I could get you that information.
Okay, well, I would like a monthly report on how we're serious we're taking it. Because if we're not taking it, there's no use passing rules and regulations.
No problem, that's fine.
Thank you. Any other new business? We'll move to courtesy of the floor for public comment on any issue. Ms. Merrill?
My name is Tony. My name is Tony Sameo. I'm living at 1135 East 3rd Street, Bethlehem, Pennsylvania, south side. I actually started working 10 hours a day, so I missed a couple of finance meetings, actually all of them. But I've been trying to keep up with them.
You mean budget meetings?
The budget meetings, I'm sorry. But I've been trying to keep up with them in the news, and I've read a couple of things that kind of struck me as a little funny. There was an item where the funding for the loop was cut. And so I actually started looking a little bit deeper and talking to people, and I found out that there are city vehicles that are being used for private purpose, personal use, driving home, things like that. So on Sunday, I put out a petition, and I asked a couple of my friends to help out. Basically, I'm going to read the petition to you so that it's clear as to what it states. Bethlehem City Council has recently voted to end funding for public transportation route commonly known as the Loop, which offers residents and visitors to the city alike a low-cost method to get from the newly built Sands Casino and Resort to businesses which are locally owned. While we do not disagree with this decision, we do feel that it is unfair to have public transportation funding cut when city employees are getting a free ride. The mayor of the city of Bethlehem has use of a car, which is paid for with city money. We are also aware that there are city employees who drive city-owned cars home. One of these employees lives as far away as the Lansdale area, which is a 90-mile round trip. While it is understandable that city vehicles have to be used in official city work on a day-to-day basis, it is not acceptable that public funds be used for private use of these same vehicles. The private sector, for the most part, does not supply employees with vehicles, and the city should also follow this example. City employees, including the mayor of the city of Bethlehem, should use their own cars and deduct any miles used for official business, such as going to meetings, ribbon-cutting ceremonies, or speaking engagements, from their personal income taxes, just like the rest of us do. If it is expressly necessary to have a city vehicle for official business, which is outside of the normal day-to-day activity, the mayor of the city of Bethlehem could at any time sign out a car on a temporary basis. By signing this petition, we ask the council of the city of Bethlehem to pass a resolution which will limit the use of city-owned vehicles to official business only. If the citizens of the city of Bethlehem can't have a discounted ride, the official shouldn't have a free one. This went out on Sunday. In 48 hours, I have 89 signatures. And I would like to actually introduce this into to City Council.
We'll make it part of the record. If you want